How do you make sure that you are selling over summer and that your Shopify site is performing as it should and that cash is still coming in? Sometimes it can be a bit of a myth that summer is a downtime, but it doesn't have to be. Today I'm chatting with Elle Williamson, Shopify and Klaviyo expert, and who is known on Instagram as the e-commerce assistant. Elle, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you for having me.
Now, Elle, you've been on the podcast before as a guest, so I'll refer back to that later on in the show notes so people can find out more about Elle and what she does. But today we're going to be talking specifically about making sure that you're keeping those sales coming in over the summer. But before we do that, can you just give a little quick intro of who you are?
Yep. So I'm Elle. I founded the e-commerce assistant to help busy founders of online shops to sell more online, specifically with Shopify and Klaviyo. And I do that in a consultancy role, but also have a community where I help with a lovely group of small business owners to improve their online presence.
Yes, you have a fantastic membership, which we'll link in the show notes later on as well. So it is a bit of a myth, and I think people can sometimes take their foot off the gas, so to
Mm,
speak, when it comes to summer.
mm.
What are your what's your advice so that people keep selling over summer and keep that cash coming in from what can they be doing on their website? How can they plan better so that
Mm.
money is still coming in over the summer?
I think, like, obviously some people will want to take a break, and it is this time of year where we're all, like, we were just talking about winding down actually for summer ourselves. But I think with an ecom brand, because we know that the year ramps up into Q4, which is not, I know we've kind of entered Q3 recently, but it's not that far away. I think it's really important that even if you are taking a break, which you absolutely should, that you don't just like down tools, like you say, and just stop selling, because I do hugely believe that it's a myth that sales have to be really slow. Yes, it's not a peak season, and we're not saying that. That's not what we're trying to convince you of, unless
Yeah.
you sell like beach towels or something. But it's really important to not stop, because if you stop, there'll be no sales. If you aren't visible online, visible on Instagram, your emails, your website, if it's not been, updated since God knows when, then you won't get any sales. So the slump will happen. It's almost that self-fulfilling prophecy, I suppose. But I just think it's a really good time to actually lay the foundations actually for Q4. I know we're not talking about Q4 today, but actually I just think it's a really good time to build up to that, so that you don't come back in September and think, oh God, it's now almost that really busy time. So I think it's massively about planning. And even if you're sitting there thinking, gosh, I haven't even planned it yet and we're into the summer holidays, just do it now. Like, I can sometimes be a late planner too, but I think it's making that plan and trying to stick to it. So mapping out what you can do, what your capacity is. Can you send, an email a week over summer? Could you prepare that now? Could you prepare 6 emails? That is all it is if you're going to send a weekly email, and doing that planning before you take a break. So obviously the beauty of email marketing, which I obviously talk about a lot, is you can schedule it and you can have it ready to go and not have to actually be online. Obviously, we also want your website to reflect that. So I would be making as much website updates as you can. Again, it's important to factor in your time off, but keeping the website up to date. If you're going away for summer, making sure there's really clear messaging about any delays in posting. A lot of the businesses I work with are just solo founders. It's just them doing everything. Often they'll have to say, I'm dispatching orders today and I'm going to have a week off. I mean, that's totally fine,
Yeah.
but that's all about
You
that
just it's the
communication.
communication, isn't it, that
Yeah,
makes it key, that you're not disappointing anyone or surprising anyone because
yeah.
they've not received their packages.
Exactly. So sometimes people say to me, "Oh, what do I do? I want to take a week off," and I'm like, "That's fine. Like, you just tell everyone. You put it on your website announcement bar. You put it on your product pages. You make sure you're shipping. You update your shipping options instead of saying, you'll get this in 3 to 5 days. It's going to have that extra dispatch time. So, like many things in online shops, it's repeating your messaging and making sure that's everywhere, and putting out an email. If you are taking that time off, just to stick with that for a second, then prepping an email to precede that, to say, get your orders in.
Yeah.
Anything with a timely message can work so well over email, because you could have customers sitting there thinking, oh, well, I'll order for so-and-so's birthday in a week's time. But if you send that email, say, look, I'm going away for X amount of time, order today to get deliveries, it will get people to order. And that's just another opportunity to make sales, before you go. So I think a huge amount of planning needs to happen, whether you're taking a break or not. And generally, if we have a plan, we stick to it better. So I think starting with a plan is the best thing to do.
And for you, in terms of And I think as well, from a content point of view, you mentioned there about email marketing, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. I suppose it's looking back on your last year's
Yeah.
emails that worked well for you, making them relevant for now and rehashing them.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely. Repurposing emails. I mean, I do that myself as a service-based business. I've looked at last summer. I know I'm going away. I know I'm having time off. And I'm thinking, what can I reuse? People don't see every bit of content. People don't remember if they have seen it. And if you've had emails that you did last year that are still relevant, absolutely rehash them. Think about the events, seasonal events that are going on. Obviously, we've had things like the Euros, the Olympics are starting. Do your products tie in any of these summer events? Like, the thing about summer that actually is kind of better than Q4 is there's loads of like festivals, events, music, sport, like culture. There's usually something you can tie your products to that's happening, so you can make it really relevant and really timely. And obviously holidays, of course. And just because people are on holiday, it doesn't mean they're not buying. Like, I will be taking time off from work, but I'll still be on my phone, as we all are in this day and age, shopping for various things. So it does come back to that. If you're not talking, if you're not there even a little bit, then people won't buy because they won't see you. So I think having that visibility is very important. And then finding that angle, like what can you talk about that's happening right now that makes it really timely? Is it do you need to put a promotion on like these summer months? That's fine too, but obviously you just need to plan for that, whether you're going to do that.
And is there anything for you to think about now to help you get that start? I know we're kind of talking a little bit about summer, but about getting that head start on Q4 then as well.
Yeah, I think that's where the frequency, like when we just talk about email marketing specifically, when people have said to me, oh, should I stop emailing? I'm going to start emailing. When you get that, I'm going to start in September. I'm going to start in October because I want a good Q4. It's like, well, that's too late. If you can keep your usual frequency up now. So I don't think it's a time where you might, will be thinking about increasing frequency. That's more for those Q4 weeks where it gets really busy. But if you are emailing once a week at the minute, then I wouldn't drop below that just because it's summer. Like, I would keep going and do it, or starting if you haven't quite started. Again, I work with lots of people that just haven't, email marketing is quite scary for them and they haven't got around to starting. So if you're hoping for that really big Q4 and you've got some really big, exciting, plans and promotions, then actually keeping that weekly or bi-weekly consistency at the minute, I think creates that groundwork for leading into Q4, leading into talking about Christmas in September, October. Like, it's not far away. Like, summer holidays fly, and would hate the thought of anyone having to sort of come back in September and then be starting from scratch almost, or like having stopped. And then you do feel like you're starting from scratch, don't you, when you have a gap in your email.
And what are the things from the emails? What would be we talked about planning, we talked about keeping up that usual frequency. What are the top things that you have seen that help drive those sales in the emails? Like anything in particular that people should make sure they're definitely showing in those emails?
They should definitely be showing their products. So I've seen a lot of emails recently that products just aren't in them, or they're hard to like click through from a product. Yes, images. I know everyone wants images to look beautiful, and it is content and you want that lovely aesthetic, but they need to be shoppable. Like, you need to be able to see a product that's relevant to the email. And let's say it's, summer holidays, get beach ready. Yes, you might have a gorgeous image or graphic that you've created in Canva, whatever, but we need to be able to click on products. We need to be able to effectively shop, although we want them on the website. Effectively, it's showing them products that make them click on directly onto the website and making it really, really, really easy. Like, you said about rehashing emails and not reinventing the wheel. They do not have to be essays. You're not sitting down thinking, I've got to write out, all this copy for emails. Actually, short and sweet works even better in these busy summer months where we're holidaying and going to events and things. So keep them short. Use products. So in Klaviyo, you can use dynamic product feeds. That's really quick and easy to set up. And also, like, utilizing the automation that you have. So if you've got flows and automated emails set up in your email provider, if you have the time before a sort of summer break, then I would be going in and checking they're all sort of working properly. Is there anything you can tweak? Is that image actually really wintry and it should be more summery? Actually just going in and going, well, they're just going to work for you whilst you're, on a sunbed, hopefully. So actually checking in on that automation is really key as well.
Yeah, so doing a little bit of housekeeping before you
Yeah.
you take that bit of break. And from a what are the things or the apps that make it life easier for the Shopify e-commerce owner?
So obviously Shopify, we're classing that as an app. So Shopify and Klaviyo are my two no-brainers for everyone who wants to sell online. If you're a small business, they're the two, they work together so well. Shopify is made for the sort of solo small business owner right through to, you know, enterprise level businesses. So they're the first two. And then I would be thinking about reviews next. So if you've not got a review app yet, that's something you absolutely need. Again, that's something that once you set up, it's scheduled, the emails will go out, you don't need to do anything, you're not manually asking people for reviews, it's another automation effectively. So you get your order and that review email will just go. So yes, it takes a bit of setting up, but it's going to give you that automated process afterwards. And then it would be, there's an app on Shopify called Search and Discovery, which is really important that people add to their store. So it doesn't actually come with you might not have it on your Shopify. It's worth checking. And you actually need to add it, but it's a Shopify free app. And that helps you create things like filters. You can edit all your search settings on there. And it just really helps you make a better customer experience for your customers. And then there's like the usual things like, you know, your Royal Mail, your click and drop. Are you using an app? I mean, most people are, but I still see a few people who are manually shipping. And that's just, if you're using Royal Mail, that's going to make that whole process more automated, more streamlined. And if you are handing over to someone during the summer months to ship your orders, they'll just obviously be able to log in and do that for you. So it's, again, just thinking of things that make things easier for you and automate all your processes. What else would I say?
You mentioned the reviews there. Is there a particular app that you would recommend?
Yeah, so I recommend everyone uses JudgeMe. It's probably my favorite Shopify app, and it's free to begin with. And then they have a paid plan. What is quite unique about it is a lot of review apps, similar to email, like they increase as your orders increase and the cost per month increases. But JudgeMe doesn't. So it's free. You can use the free plan, or their paid plan is just $15 a month. So it's just, I know that apps can build up. You know, if you keep adding apps, $10 here and there will quickly become, you know, $100 or plus. So I'm very conscious of not recommending too many apps, and certainly being really critical if you're adding a paid app and making sure like you absolutely need it, you know, and testing it and things like that. But the beauty of JudgeMe is, it's not actually, you can just use the free plan. It integrates perfectly with Shopify. It looks part of your website rather than looking like clearly another app. It integrates beautifully, and all the automation is sort of there for you just to set up. There's no extra cost for that. No, it's not hard to set up. It's not hard to use, and it just is really customer friendly. I think they've really nailed that review process.
And what about then? Obviously, we talked about trying to make things easier for you for summer. Customer service, it can be very much a time drain. Are there any that you would recommend that people are using for customer service?
Yeah, so for customer service, there's a few things that are actually coming up in my community at the minute with customer service, because most people are too small usually to use any tech. So the one piece of tech I would recommend is called Gorgias, which is like a customer service program which creates tickets for all your channels. So if you're finding that you're getting, you know, a DM and then a Facebook message and then your contact form and a live chat, you know, all these ways people can now get in touch, it can be really overwhelming. So what Gorgias does is you can link up all those platforms and it will just bring in the tickets, you know, in a chronological list for you to then deal with in the platform. I find that it's maybe too much of a step. I kind of wish there was something in between, you know, doing everything manually yourself and then that, because it is a big step up for some really small brands, and obviously it costs per ticket sometimes, or you have different plans. So but I guess the other option is a VA. I've just had actually a client who said she's just hired a VA to help with her customer service, and she's thrilled about that because, you know, she's about to take 3 weeks off and finally someone else can just take that burden, because it can be a huge task, can't it, customer service?
Yeah. And it's very like you mentioned fulfillment there as well. And there isn't, unfortunately, an app that can do that. But it's
No.
it's trying to see, you either make the point that you're not going to be delivering between a certain period, or
Yeah.
you try and get external help for that.
Yeah.
And is there anything, obviously people trust authentic opinion in referrals. I have read about one called Candy. Have you?
Referral Candy. Yeah.
Yeah, what's that one about, and how is it a good one to use?
Yeah, so Referral Candy, there's a few different referral sort of apps you can use. And again, it's like anything. If you go on the Shopify App Store or if you Google anything, you just get thousands of options. So often that adds to our overwhelm, and that's not what we want. So there are a few other options, but Referral Candy is a really easy one to set up and use. Adds to Shopify easily, integrates with Klaviyo if you want it to, and that can basically tell it what you would like to do. So somebody orders, what do you want to offer them for referring you, and what do you want to offer their sort of friend? So you are fully in control of the discounts, because obviously it is going to be, that is what we normally offer, 10% off for a friend, 10% off for you. But if you are a product that, I think it works really well if you're a product that you're maybe not going to see a repeat customer often. So if you sell something that is kind of not necessarily a one-off purchase, but it's just something that people don't return to buy every month, you're not going to be able to get that repeat customer rate. But you've got a great product that people love, then it's something I recommend people then look at. So, get your customers to actually advocate for you. You can kind of do like hack it a little bit in Klaviyo if you wanted to, because I know it's another cost. You pay for the app and they take a commission of your sales. But so you could try a sort of like, I guess, a manual. It would still be with a flow, but some people are a bit nervous sometimes. So I sort of suggest maybe trying something in a manual way to then justify that spend on the app. But it does work really well.
Yeah, so, and like you said, if you have if there's quite a long time, maybe you've got a high ticket purchase that people aren't
Yeah.
buying very frequently, that it's potentially a good one to have a look at and invest in. And
Yeah.
Elle, you are like I said, the Shopify and Klaviyo expert for me. I've referred clients to you, and you work with people in so many different ways. Where can people find you on Instagram?
So on Instagram, I'm just at the e-commerce assistant, and very busy on there trying to share lots of helpful advice for everyone. I'm very much a big believer in, giving, not having any secrets, trying to give away as much information as possible, because like I said, it's really overwhelming when you hit Google and you get thousands of results of things. So I'm very much active on Instagram.
Thank you so much. And we will mention all those apps in the show
Yep.
notes as well, and the links to those for you to refer to. And Elle, you have a membership as well that people can join, which is,
Yep.
I've also recommended that to many clients.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I launched my community in March this year. I basically just saw a need for this sort of, you've got a question and you don't want to go on Google. It really was a case of that, and obviously spoke to you about it, and managed to quickly launch it. And now I think we're up to 60 members. Everyone helps each other. Everyone's got an online shop. Small businesses in the same boat, helping each other and learning from me. And yeah, I'd love for anyone to join.
And it's a very great entry price point at the moment as well. Is it still under 20?
It's about to go up, actually, so you've got to be quick. It's going up on the 1st of August to £33, but it's currently £24.99 a month. So if you are interested, I would join now if I was you.
Very good. Right. Well, we will make sure that we shout about that from the treetops. So thank you so much, Elle, for joining me. And I'll be back again next week with another great guest. So get your summer planning done. It's not too late. You can do it. You can make it less stressful and keep taking sales.